This feast day is a very important one for legionaries. Originally, as you know, I'm sure, the constitutions of 1983 were approved on this day, and so this was a day that we would celebrate our constitutions, our way of life, approved by the church. Right? And it was very fitting that it was with Peter and Paul, who are two significant figures for us. So even though that it's still not necessarily the day we celebrate the constitutions, it's still a very important feast day for us as legionaries. St. Paul, one of our patrons, and St. Peter, the first pope, right? One of our 5 loves. So this feast day is important as legionaries. And then personally, this is also my 10th anniversary of being a deacon, ordained a deacon, 2014. And this day always goes hand in hand with the passing of Father Alvaro, who passed away the next day, tomorrow, 10 years ago, June 30th, 2014. So this feast day is always a very significant one for me as a legionary and also personally. As we look over these readings of Peter and Paul, they're both moments in their lives that they felt fear. Herod had been killing Christians. He saw that by killing James, it was actually kind of like a popular thing. And so he's like, oh, well, there's a handful more. We'll just keep going. Peter's in jail, expecting to be executed. Paul is given his life, been stoned numerous times, lashed, shipwrecked. The list goes on. And I think it's natural that they would feel fear. I think it's natural that we are afraid sometimes. And most likely, we're not in the same situations as Peter and Paul. I don't want to assume, but I would go out on a limb and say none of us have been in those same situations yet. So our fear is not really necessarily based on life and death situations. But we still feel afraid sometimes. We feel afraid maybe with an upcoming exam or an evaluation or maybe a performance, something that we have to do in front of a large group. We can feel nervous. Afraid. Regardless of the level of uncertainty or unknown that might exist in our life, it is necessary to have courage. Because to face fear, to bear uncertainty, requires courage, boldness. And it takes resilience to keep facing fear. Maybe we do it once. But it takes resilience to keep facing fear. And it takes hope to believe that the reward or the goal is better than the fear. That it's better to face the fear. Courage, resilience, hope. They go hand in hand. They have to. They have to. That's what we see in Peter and Paul. Hope. That what they're living for is more than the fear of any human struggle. I have competed well. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Legionaries don't quit. Legionaries don't quit. Legionaries fight. Now, that does not mean that after this Mass, we all go to the mission center and take all the swords and fake axes and everything off the walls and we go out. No, that's not what it means. Legionaries fight in the small things. The things that no one sees. The struggles that we have in our hearts. Fighting means that when I'm tired, I get up and go to morning prayers anyways. Because it's more important for me to be with my brothers before the Lord than for me to not feel tired. Fighting means that when my work coordinator comes and says, hey, it's time to clear, I respond with a smile. And with servant, I stand up too, right? You might smile, respond with a smile and just stay there. Right? Fighting means that I study. I put effort in my study when no one's watching. When no one's asking me, am I studying? Fighting means being who I am called to be because I want to. And because God called me to. Not because I have to. Not because others are watching. Legionary fights in the small things. And this spirit of fight comes from the answer we give. Who do you say that I am? That's where it flows from. That's the reason. It comes from our answer to that question. Wow, some people say, that you're Elijah, and I've heard other people say that you're like a really important prophet. Yeah. Who cares what the people? Who do you say? Who do you say that I am? That's the question we need to answer. That's where we find the courage and the resilience and the hope to fight. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. No trophy is big enough. No ribbon is important enough. No applause is long enough for our type of fighting. Only our answer to that question is going to give us the meaning that we need. And there's no neutral ground. There's no neutral ground. A non-answer is an answer. Who do you say that I am? So ask yourselves. Ask yourselves that question. Who do you say that I am? And your answer will guide your legionary life. Don't quit. Fight.